What's going on YouTube? This is Tyler back again with another video, and today we are going to be talking about CSG. They have a new slab. That's right guys, I want to give you my reaction and also my feedback on this, and I'm going to be learning this just as you guys are. Alright, so hot off the press, CSG has revamped their new slabs, or their old slabs, and they have made them completely crisp. My initial reaction to the slab is it is beautiful. It is a massive, massive upgrade. The hobby has been demanding that they fix their slab because, quite honestly, out of the big companies, theirs was the worst. And if you go back to my previous videos where I did CSG breaks for bulk orders, not only were the slabs ugly, but there was also a lot of scuffs. So much so that I actually named CSG the worst grading company out of all the companies that I use, despite having very accurate grading standards. At the end of the day, if it's an ugly presentation, nobody wants it. And that has been my experience up to this point. But I've immediately woke up today and heard that CSG is getting new stuff, and I have not done any digging. So let's dig into this new slab. And I know that they have a video on here, I believe, somewhere. So let's just learn this together. All right. Introducing the new CSG label. So let's click it. You can see everything is kind of black, right? Away is all the whiteness. And that's probably one of the biggest issues and complaints that a lot of people had was this is just too much white space. It's almost like Panini Flawless, right? Every single release of Panini Flawless, it's just a big blank canvas of white. I mean, I'm not racist against white by any means, especially in 2022. I mean, come on. But too much white space on a card or on a slab, gotta cut that. Gotta cut it. So now it looks like they've gone black. They've gone the opposite end. They're black now. All right, CSG ups its game with a new label and revised grading scale. Okay, so they have a changed grading scale. All right, just in time for the Mint Collective, CSG is delivering a 1-2 punch, a fresh label along with market-friendly updates to its grading scale. Certified Sports Guarantee CSG is excited to reveal its brand new certification label. The bold yet refined design is the result of months of research and development, including market studies, focus groups, and extensive testing. That's phenomenal. I imagine that every company that comes out is doing some type of studies and focus groups just to play around with different slabs and see what works for the focus groups and what doesn't. You have to nail this. This is your brand. This is the ultimate product that is going to be customer facing. You want this to be something that is well received by your focus group. So it's good to hear that they spent a lot of time on this. Green is gone in favor of a black, silver, and gold palette that will complement, not compete with, the colors of any sports card. I like that. Green is not a neutral color. Whenever you're creating a slab, white is absolutely a neutral color, and they have a lot of that, but the green is just not really a neutral color. It doesn't really go well. If you think of all the other slabs, Beckett has a silver slab, they have a gold slab, they have a white slab. PSA is predominantly white with red borders, which you could almost say that kind of competes a little bit with some team colors, but the way they have it designed, it's like the branding is just there and it doesn't really interfere with the rest of the card. SGC with their white on black, black on white, however you want to say it, that's just super neutral and it goes with a lot of different cards. So I like getting rid of the green. Some people like the green. I personally didn't really care too much for it. The biggest issue that I had was actually the size of the label itself. So it looks like that has been addressed. All right, so we're going to click on this video at some point, but I'm going to continue reading. CSG is also updating its grading scale to more closely align with the sports card collecting market. The CSG Pristine 10 grade will be replaced by CSG Gem Mint 10. Ooh, that's a shocker, and I don't know if I like that. Which corresponds to the nomenclature used by other leading sports card grading services. The next highest grade will be CSG Mint Plus, not at 9.5. To view the CSG grading scale, click here. So we're going to click on that and open a new window and take a look. My initial impressions for that are So I get it. PSA is the standard. SGC actually ditched their grading scale a long time ago, where they went to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 grading scale, 1 through 10 with half grades. They ditched their SGC 98 equals a gem mint. I don't like the fact that they're getting rid of a pristine grade. At least SGC held on to it, where you could have an SGC 10, but then you could have an SGC 10 gold label, which is essentially a pristine card. At one point, SGC actually had an SGC 10 pristine perfect, and that's what that gold label was before their last tuxedo update. So they've kind of gone all over the place. But I liked having a pristine grade. And the fact that there is no longer a pristine grade here kind of hurts CSG. And that makes me wonder if any of the legacy CSG cards, which we only had CSG for less than a year so far, if any of those, maybe about a year, if any of those CSG 10s, if they stay in those old holders, are they going to have a premium moving forward in, say, 5 to 10 years if CSG actually gains traction? Yeah, they're going to be in an ugly label, but they're a pristine card. So there's no differentiating factor now between a CSG 10. Okay, maybe I'm missing this. CSG will continue to assign the CSG Perfect 10 grade to the best of the best, which will have flawless centering, corners, edges, and surface. However, now all cards that merit a CSG Perfect 10 will receive subgrades by default for free, with no special request required. Subgrades will be discontinued for the other grades. Okay, more big news. So technically there is a perfect card still, but there's still no pristine. So what I said holds. We're basically going from PSA 10 to perfect. So that's basically a black label. I mean, I guess that's essentially what that is. So it's almost like a Beckett scale, except there is no pristine. We're going straight from Beckett 9.5 all the way up to a perfect black label. There's no in between. I don't know about that. I know they don't hand out pristines all that often, but it still felt good to get them because honestly it helped offset all the losses for all the other stuff that I sold. But it looks like they're getting rid of subgrades. Shocker. All right, let's see what else they have on here. Before I comment on that, these updates reflect CSG's commitment to provide the best possible service to the sports card collecting community. And says Andy Broom, CSG Senior Grading Finalizer. We listen to collector and dealer feedback and are thrilled with the results of these changes. Broom continues. Fewer than 20% of submitters were requesting subgrades, so the demand simply was not there. Shocker. You guys were charging like $10 per card. I think it was 10. It was either $5 or $10 for subgrades. Nobody is going to pay for that, especially whenever there wasn't even really a premium boost. So it's no surprise whenever, we're used to submitting to Beckett for less than $10 a card for over 2 decades. And for 2 decades, we had subgrades on every card. That was standard. Now, Beckett did away with that recently because they couldn't handle their volume, and they still can't handle their volume. But now CSG is coming out and charging $5 to $10 for subgrades for every card. I mean, if I submit 300 cards, like I did, or 400 cards, that's an extra $3,000 to $4,000 with virtually no benefit to me whatsoever because the premium just wasn't there. So especially for that low-end market, which is what CSG is catering towards with a $12 bulk price, I mean, you can't really eat into your margins, which are already razor thin, because it's just doesn't make sense. That's all I can say. It would have made a lot more sense if CSG wanted to gain traction to make subgrades standard on every card, differentiate themselves, go market share from Beckett. Beckett doesn't do subgrades anymore unless you pay a premium. I know operationally it is a nightmare to do subgrades. I don't know any inner workings of CSG or Beckett, but you can just imagine operationally, you're not only grading the card, just imagine as a grader, you as a grader, not only do you have to assign a numerical value, but you then also have to assign a subgrade. And manually, what does that look like? Like, how does that work whenever you're going through the grading steps? It has to add a ton of time. So that's why they charge for it. But at the end of the day, if you're paying for it and you're not getting a premium at for the final result, it's I don't know, it's difficult. So I think that they should have just, in order to gain market share, they should have offered that in the beginning. You absolutely need that to start out with in order to really gain market share and compete with Beckett and SGC and PSA. All right, so we've got a picture of the cards themselves. Let's see if we can take a little click here. Okay, man, that looks so good. All right, so we still have a clear, transparent acrylic design. I don't have measurements here, but it looks like the flip, which is the label, is much smaller. Now, the thing that was one of my gripes, there were so many gripes about the old label, is there was no outline. There was no picture frame for the label. It's almost like there was full bleed going from the flip all the way up to the acrylic. I hated that. I'm just thinking of the old one in my head. I may be wrong on that, but I can't remember it being framed like this. You need a nice framed label. Now, Beckett doesn't necessarily do that, but their flip just looks premium. Their flip looks better than anybody else's because it looks like it's on metallic silver and gold. Like, that's unbeatable in my opinion. So you can get away with full bleed whenever you have these flimsy paper ones. And again, I don't know if this is just a mock-up or what this is going to look like in terms of a finished product. It just looks a lot nicer to have it framed and look nice and professional. So that black framing, love it. Looks great. So it looks like black framing, and do they say it's white or gray? I'm not really sure. I'm assuming this is white. Let's go back up here and see the colors. All right, black, silver, and gold palette. So it's silver. I like it. Looks very clean. The black on silver with the gold lettering. The CSG branding here. It looks beautiful. There's not blank space here, which was a huge eyesore. The label doesn't need to take away from the card. It needs to accentuate the card. And I think they've done a really good job here with framing this in such a way to not take away from the card, but accentuate it to add more eye appeal to the card itself. All right, a decision not to roll with the punches. CSG experienced an extraordinary surge in submissions soon after it launched in February 2021, resulting in a formidable backlog. Due to a concerted effort to increase capacity and streamline workflow, CSG eliminated its submission backlog and dramatically improved turnaround times. Today, CSG has graded more than 750,000 cards and has the second largest capacity of any third-party grading service. That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. So we're talking about basically in a 1 year period, they've graded about 750,000 cards. I'm terrible at math. What is that, like 70, 80,000 cards a month? Beckett, you've been in business for how long again? And you can't compete with that. SGC is close to that or maybe on par with that. CSG is claiming that they're second. That's phenomenal, in my opinion. CSG now offers some of the fastest turnaround times in the industry at the most affordable prices. Turnaround times range from just 3 to 45 business days with the grading fees as low as $12 per card. I'm going to do a separate video on that just to give me my thoughts. We'll go into that a little bit later. While CSG is stronger than ever, it was clear that there was overwhelming support for new minimalistic label design and an updated grading scale. Rather than roll with the punches, CSG decided to take action, conducting numerous surveys and focus groups to gather meaningful market feedback on its label and grading scale. The insightful responses and generous input from the sports card collectors and dealers informed every update. And guys, I'm going from a person who created a YouTube video saying that the worst grading company of the year was CSG to now giving them another chance. I would not have given them a chance previously. Now, I still haven't really necessarily received an apology or any feedback from CSG based on the orders that I submitted. I gave them, almost 10,000. I don't know. How much did I give them? I forget how many cards I graded. I gave them thousands and thousands of dollars for 2 massive bulk submissions that had horrible resale value, which is not on them. That's on me in the market. But the product they gave me for those several thousands of dollars it was junk. If you want to watch the videos and go back and watch them, guess what? Every 2 seconds, the word scuff is going to be mentioned because they gave me the worst batch of cases that they had all year last year. And it happened on 2 separate orders. So I'm going from that, and they may have watched those videos and learned that I also gave them negative feedback about the flip. I gave them negative feedback about the scuffs, about the plastic and how it scratches and how it just shouldn't do that for a premium product. To now, hopefully they've redesigned the label. Hopefully the cases are a little bit better. I would maybe consider giving them another test order just to see what these cases look like in hand. I know the resale value right now for CSG is not good. I'm not going to have that market be taken away or take away cards that I would have earmarked for PSA, but I wouldn't mind doing a test run with them just to see what they can do. All right, CSG is here to win. With the successful execution of these initiatives, CSG offers the sports card market a vastly superior product, a card-enhancing label combined with CSG's best-in-class protective holder, fast and accurate grading, affordable prices, and more. CSG is here to win. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, whatever. Send your stuff in today. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. Additionally, let's see if there's anything good here. CSG will immediately begin encapsulating submitted cards with the new CSG label. So you can do that today, it sounds like. All right. Any submissions that are at CSG facility will be encapsulated in the new CSG label. Okay. All right. So it's like today they're flipping the switch. With the new CSG label with no subgrades unless the card earns a CSG Perfect 10 grade. I'm curious what they're going to do for people who paid for the subgrade fee. All right, well, let's say it here. Subgrade fee will be refunded. Man, they have just hit everything. All the questions that I had. Good for them. Additionally, cards already encapsulated with the original green label can be resubmitted for the new CSG label for a reduced reholder fee of just $5 per card. That's still a lot of money, man. If you've submitted these cards in bulk, like 300, let's say you did 300 times 5, that's what, $1,500 just to get the new label. I don't know. Maybe it makes up in resale value, maybe not. I guess we're going to see whenever these things hit the market. If the original green label had subgrades, they will be removed when the card is reholdered to the new CSG label, unless the card is a perfect 10. For questions, blah, blah, blah. All right, let's watch this video really quick, and then we're going to see what some of the hobby's reaction is to this really quick. Boy, that looks sexy. Oh, man. Yeah, those do look really, really, really good. Now, at the same time, it's a clear holder, but the way they have the black background, it makes it look like the card itself is black. So it makes it look like the holder itself is like black. But here you can clearly see it's just clear. So it depends on the setting. These are going to maybe look a lot different whenever you get them in hand. They're probably going to look similar outside of the label. It looks like the case is still pretty much the same. All right, so let's look at this grading standard really quick. So we go all the way from 1 up until you get the 9.5. So this is basically going to be like an SGC 9.5. Mint Plus card is nearly flawless in the naked eye. Centering must be 50-50 one way and 55-45 the other. That's strict. Corners must be mint to the naked eye, but subtle wear is allowed under magnification. Edges must be the original with only one minor flaw. A few extremely minor print spots that are detectable under magnification is allowed. Okay, all right, a mint card. A mint card will have 4 sharp corners with only minor wear visible. Centering must be 55-45 or better. Slight minor flaws on the edges may be visible. Surface must have original gloss. However, a small number of specks or one minor spot or surface defect is allowed. So that's kind of like right in line, I feel like, with what they're doing already. Outside of this SGC 9.5, that sounds like a Gem Mint card for Beckett or PSA, really. A Gem Mint 10 is a card that has received a 10 grade overall. However, one of the grading criteria does not meet the following of a perfect 10. Corners will appear perfect to the naked eye and Mint Plus under 10x magnification. The surface is free of print spots and should also display perfect gloss devoid of any surface flaws. So basically, are you going to try to get a Gem Mint 10 with roller marks or surface scratches with CSG? Nope. And I can tell you, they don't hand them out at all. I've gotten them through PSA, I've gotten them through SGC, I've gotten them through Beckett. I didn't get anything through CSG that had surface flaws. They caught every one of them. All right, perfect 10. Perfect 10, we already know what a perfect 10 is. Okay. Let's go over to the grading forum really quick. and let's see what the feedback is. I think I left off here somewhere. Let's just go here to the end. Well, maybe we'll go here in the beginning. Okay. New labels look great. New scale, great for new subs. Terrible for old subs. No subs, all good with no subgrades is all good for me. CSG slabs are significantly better quality. I think SGC is going to lose a bunch of business now that CSG has changed their colors from green and white to black and yellow. This is actually something I'm kind of a little bit interested in, is because CSG and SGC are competing for the same business. They're not competing for PSA's business. They're not. They're trying to compete for whatever market share or scraps that are left over from PSA hogging everything. So I see this definitely happening because CSG is much cheaper. SGC is stubborn. They're not lowering their prices. They're losing market share. They're losing submission volumes. And this new label basically looks... it's a different label. It has much better protection than SGC does. So I'm curious to see what happens. +1 on CSG being a really nice holder. Plastic only, forget the label. SGC feels clunky and dated. It does feel clunky, for sure. I like that, CSG feels like it's kind of like an iPhone in a way. SGC feels like it's one of those gigantic phones from the 80s or 90s. It's just too big. I knew something was up when they changed their logo on Instagram to black. Love the new labels, look amazing. I was a fan of the old green, but I can't argue with the change. Getting rid of subgrades and changing the standards is fine. PSA is who they are competing with, so it makes sense. Right now they're not competing with PSA. Long run, they're competing with PSA, for sure. So they definitely need to set up the label to compete with them in the long run. Right now, they got to steal market share from SGC and I guess Beckett, I assume, if they're still relevant. I won't be reholding. Well, we'll skip on that. Thought the exact same thing. All right, looks like SGC with a hint of gold. Thought the same thing. Might as well send to SGC. I like the Reverend. Me and him get along. I completely disagree with this. Why, if they look exactly like the same thing, why would you send to SGC? I mean, is it that SGC has a better premium? I don't know. I mean, I think both of their premiums kind of suck. But CSG, if they look the same and you can basically get the same product for a third of the price, I mean, might as well go with CSG. Especially if you have the membership where you can get it, submissions at $10.80 per card. All right. That one's a little too long. A couple more, and then we'll close this up. Just got confirmation from CSG on their forums. Gem Mint 9.5s will cross over to the new Gem Mint 10 and the new black labels for the reholder service. So if you do have an old Gem Mint 9.5, that will cross over to a Gem Mint 10. Absolutely love the new label. Bravo, CSG. What happens with the registry and population report? Great question. That sounds like a nightmare. I don't know what to do with that. I haven't really thought that through. All right, of course that will happen. The issue is with the CSG 10 Pristine. Is that Gem Mint or Perfect now? Man, Pristine crosses to Gem Mint now. No word on whether they reevaluate it for Perfect. Then I wouldn't reholder it. Why in the world would you downgrade from a Pristine card down to a Gem Mint card? That kind of sounds like a nightmare. That means if you have a Pristine card that's not perfect, you don't do the reholder. Otherwise, you're going to get downgraded. At least that's what they're saying. Bad move and bad look for the company changing the grading scale completely. I mean, I can see how that opinion is out there. I don't know. It just depends on how the market is going to look at it. Because no grading company has ever done that before. It's true, SGC did that. I'm pretty neutral on the changes, but I'm glad they are willing to listen to feedback and make changes. It's a good thing in my opinion. I only have one CSG slab, but it's one of my favorite cards. Albi's Flagship Gold. Not sure if I'll rehold it or not. Nice. I like CSG and speaking as an artist designer. I think these labels look nice. Good spacing on everything. Fonts. Yep. And then FPSA. Well, I disagree with that. PSA is awesome. All right. I think that's all the feedback I'm going to go through. So far, just very minimally skimming through here. It looks like all the feedback is pretty positive. I know whenever SGC revamped their label, the feedback initially, at least on blowout forums, was somewhat negative, although that's been very well received over the past couple of months, I would say, or years. I think this is positive. They needed to do this. They absolutely needed to switch up for their brand, for the longevity of their brand, and really to attract customers and improve their resale value. Because otherwise, they were losing to SGC, they were losing to Beckett, they were losing to PSA. And in some instances, I think they were actually losing to HGA of all things, because their label absolutely sucked. HGA's label looked better. So overall, I think this is a huge positive. Remains to be seen what happens to the market, whether or not they become fully received with the other big companies, especially when it comes to resale value, because that is the big key. Resale value, that is what matters more than anything else. So, all right, guys, let me know what you all think down below. I know I mainly talk about PSA, and I've talked about SGC and CSG and Beckett to some extent, and HGA. But this is interesting news. Curious what you all think down below. Do you all like this change? Do you all not like this change? Agree, disagree? Let me know what you think down below. But thanks for checking me out, and we will see you next time.